zoom.us at the top, and then preferences. I know technology, right? We still can't hear you.
Can anyone lip read?
No. Shane's like, can anyone lip read? We'll just lip read the whole.
No one can hear you, Scotty.
No, we can't hear you. I think he just said you're all being very funny, but
now you can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, I've been having a grand old time.
You're funny.
So yeah, you can give me lots of jobs, but you can't leave me in charge. That's hysterical. Hi, everybody. How are you all?
Hello.
Hey, we're awesome.
Oh, my God. I'm a moron when it comes to technology. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just ridiculous. All righty. Well, first off, thank you for everybody who did an amazing job in the last 2 weeks. One of the awesomest things about this business is that you're not in on your own. And certainly I know Shane and Jess will know this, and I know this from my own traditional business. Normally when you walk away for 2 weeks because you've got something else going on, like when you're on stage for 6 hours, or we were on a plane and in the air and in another time zone for 2 weeks, usually everything drops and everything falls apart and goes sideways. But you guys have been doing amazing stuff, and everyone's been going crazily well, and numbers are all going great. So thanks for all those amazing folks who stepped in and did extraordinary things, and congratulations for stepping up and for making things happen. We just had 40 people on the Own Your Own live call, so that's a really good number to have on that Own Your Own live call. So congratulations to everybody who's got folks launching and about to launch and nearly launching. So congratulations, kudos and respect. So kind of cool. We haven't got Adam on the call tonight. I don't know where he is doing whatever he's doing. So I've got some thoughts I'd love to share, but let's have you guys jump on in and share any awesome news, any great distinctions, any great breakthroughs, any great questions at all. If Shane or Jess or any Yvonne or anybody else or Kathy wants to jump in and share, please feel free to do that, and let's make this a useful half an hour. Vanessa straight in. I have a customer who wants to put their teenager on the products with her, but he can only have low, moderate salicylates, but no amines. I've posted this on the groups, but still don't have an answer. Where do I find this info? Ooh, Vanessa, I would suggest to you that you send that direct and personally to Kira Westwick. That's what I would do. That's a very, very specific question. And then I would send it direct. Do you know that to be true, Jason, the answer you just gave? Are you guessing, or is that an actual real answer, Jason? Jace?
Sorry, I just accidentally jumped out of Zoom. FODMAP website will have heaps, if not just about every food you can find, which is either amines or salicylates friendly or unfriendly. So can't guarantee it'll be Juice Plus branded, but if you go to your VO, there will be, I think, page 12 of the franchisee guide will give you all the ingredients for the chews, and you can relate that back to FODMAP's website.
Okay, cool.
Does that work, Ness?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Thank you.
And I would just also, because I'm all about doing things quicker, faster, I would just ask Kira, because if anyone's going to know, Kira will know.
Yeah, okay, no worries. Cool. Thanks for that.
Sweet. Cool. Questions about three-ways. How critical are they? Because I'm finding it difficult getting time with you, Scott, and Adam, for example. I had something booked in this evening at 9:30 with Adam. Just cancelled right now. I can do it for you, Yvonne. And the answer is they're critical. And the reason they're critical, Yvonne, is because unless you feel like you can do it yourself, the reason they're critical is not for you. So if you think about everything you want to do in this business, we want to make sure that what we're doing is duplicatable. Now, Yvonne, you're very capable and very bright and very independent. And so what's great is that you can do your own three-ways. The challenge is that doesn't set up a duplicatable and repeatable model for your peeps to then do three-ways. Does that make sense? So I would be encouraging you, Yvonne, for you to be doing three-ways for your people so that they understand that three-way model. But as I would keep battling to get three-ways in with me and with Adam for any of your frontline is what I would do. So certainly, if you've got one tonight, I know Adam just cancelled, but you can hook me into that right now if you want to. Send a PM and I'll look at it. But yes, they are a critical thing to do. And one of the challenges is that people are busy. So I would keep doing them. And I would be encouraging Von. You've had a couple of folks sign up to be getting them to replicate the system and getting them to launch and getting them to be doing you be doing three-ways with them now. That kind of makes sense.
I'll just jump in there, guys.
Yeah.
I understand that frustration because sometimes it is very difficult to get anyone to commit to do a three-way, and it's very hard to get your potential teamie to keep changing. It's not easy to find a time with 3 people. So last time I couldn't get anyone on, I just did it myself. So at what stage do you just do them yourself? Because I think there's a certain point where you've got to step up and do it, and I don't know.
There's no question. And it's a fine line. Remember, you're not doing them for yourself.
Yeah, no, I realise that, but
And that's really the key bit. Because, and again, you're the same thing. You're a capable, grown-up, mature, sophisticated woman. You can totally do it by yourself. There's no question about that. The question is, does that make the model duplicatable for the other person you've brought on board?
no, but I think, can you not just tell them that you're there to help them with this? Or do you have to always show them?
Say that to me again, Mel.
Like if I had a teamie, I would say, look, if you have someone interested, please just put me into the three-way. And when they're on training and all of that, they will hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I've been in the business for a year, so I think
Yep.
that's
100%. So 100%. So again, I agree with you. And again, I obviously do my own three-ways. Adam doesn't do my three-ways because I never got Adam from day one. I mean, I didn't get him at all.
That's right.
And so certainly, and this is an unusual team because we do have a higher number of leaders in a smaller group, if that kind of makes sense. Because most people we've attracted have done lots of personal development, lots of growth on themselves. And so obviously you're capable of doing your own three-ways. Shane and Jess, I don't think I've ever done a three-way for Shane. I've maybe done 2 or 3 for Shane and Jess. And same thing for lots of other ladies on the call. So just remember, the only thing to be filtering through your decision is not, can I do this? It's filtering, what does this teach the next person? And so as long as you're pre-framing enough with the person to say, you know, when you do an introductory conversation with them, that you're pre-framing and letting them know, normally we do this with a third person, but I've been in the business for a long time, so I'm experienced, yada, yada, yada. The other value in doing a three-way, and this is true for every business and product in the world, particularly our business, is that third-party endorsements are always more powerful than first-party endorsements. So the reason Tony Robbins pays me a lot of money is for me to sell his products for him. Me standing on stage saying you should all go to Tony Robbins seminars is actually more powerful than him doing it. And you introducing your person to me or Adam or Karina or someone else is more valuable and more powerful than you saying the person should do it. It's a funny thing in the nature of human beings. So I get the logistics of it. It's tough. If you want to go do them, go do them.
But still maybe try three-way
Yep,
first.
totally try. And so here's a great way to get around that. If you think about training your people, is to open the three-way dialogue box and go, hey, Adam, hey, Scott, hey, Karina, can you do a three-way with me? Here's my friend Jenny. Jenny, here's Adam, Karina, and Scott. And if in 12 hours or 24 hours the answer hasn't come through or you couldn't get a time that you work, go ahead in the same dialogue box so that your person can see the system at least and go, hey, Jenny, it looks like Adam and Scott are super busy right now. Let's you and I have the call and I'll get you, Adam, to meet you another day. At least that way you've got them in the loop and in the system.
A little challenge, I think, there, because it seems that people don't really care that she's ready to go. Don't you think? If no one responds, if I've got
I wouldn't sell to. I wouldn't sell it to them as that. I'd sell it to them as a place of excitement by saying, this is such a crazy team and it's super busy. Adam's taken 12, 14 calls a day. They're busy. Oh, someone's got music on.
To be honest, last time Adam did that, I had so many messages. I thought he must be doing that on purpose to make me do that.
Yeah. I promise you, he's not. I promise you, if you go to Adam Westwick's house, I mean, here's a true story. The most number of three-ways he's done in a day is 21.
Jeez.
21 three-ways in a day. I know his average is about 14.
And I said to him in the text, I said, I realize now you must have done this on purpose to make me do my own.
We did him. So, I'll do. So, Yvonne, just so you know, Yvonne, do you want me to jump in? Do you want to book in now? Do you want me to jump on and say, yes, I'll do it? Is that what you need, Yvonne? Okay, cool. While we're doing that, Kathy.
Scott, you're already, it's
Yep.
Yvonne. You're already in that message with the communication with that new teamie. So you just have to check Facebook, and I've just messaged him saying that you'd be available to do it.
Okay, I'll jump on it now while Kathy's sharing a distinction from this week.
Cool. Okay.
Kathy,
Hello, how you going?
hang on.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, cool. I had a huge realization today that each time I go to stretch myself out of my comfort zone, when I set myself a new goal, which is a goal that's believable, but I know it's going to take some effort and energy and real focus, that I go into self-sabotage and tell myself I'm not good enough. And it's a pattern that's happened for years and years. And I just got to remind myself to get back to, encouraging myself again and believing in myself again and coming back to those I am statements. So it's just a big realization that I've had, that it's been a pattern I've been in for a long time. Feels like forever. And especially when I start comparing myself to other people.
What do you think the lesson in that is, and what's the gift in that, hun?
Yeah, so the big lesson is recognizing it like I did today, instead of just trying to ignore it, and to reassure myself and to reaffirm to myself that I am good enough just as I am. And the gift in that is just to keep growing at each new level and stop comparing myself to other people and just be myself.
I 100% agree. So a little bit, part of me, and Shane and I have talked about this. It's not fair because we don't cry as much as girls. Fair advantage. But listen, you're not special. And I say by saying you're not special, listen, I speak on stage in front of thousands of people, and every time I get nervous still and go, what if they don't like me? I do every day 2 of a 3-day program. I literally am driving to the venue going, I hope they turn up. They came yesterday. Maybe they didn't like me. Maybe they're not coming today. And I don't say that as a joke. I say it because it's the nature of human beings is to question yourself. It's the nature of human beings is to doubt yourself and go, I'm not good enough, tall enough, skinny enough, pretty enough, rich enough, smart enough, blah, blah, blah. It's the nature of human beings. And it's our ego that does it. Because our ego wants to do only one thing, keep us safe. All it wants to do is keep us small. That's what our ego wants to do, because that's how we survive. The human body is only designed to survive, and our ego is part of that body. It's the part that makes you flinch when you get scared. It's the part that makes you shiver when you get cold, and it wants to keep you safe, so it keeps you small. That's it. And the only way to beat that is to get out of your body and into your spirit. And let whatever you call spirit show up. Call that grace, call that spirit, call that God, call that Buddha, call that the tofu God, call that whatever you want, is to get into spirit and get into that place of I'm here to share, serve, give, add value, wake people up, whatever your languaging is. For the universe, God, and the Dalai Lama put me here to serve this person who's in front of me right now. And when you do that, you stop comparing yourself to the person beside you or next to you. I'm not as fast as Adam. I'm not as good as Tony Robbins. I'm not as tall as Melanie. I'm not as skinny as that person, blah, 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 which is all ego, 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 ego. Instead of just being in that state of grace, it says, it means that my friend Tony says, get out of your head. If you're in your head, you're dead. If you're in your head, you're dead. And when you're comparing, look, when you compare yourself, the Bible says that. When you compare yourself to somebody else, only two things happen. You either get full of yourself because you're better than them, or you feel like a loser because they're better than you. And neither of those are good answers. Instead of just going, my job is just to be a great example and to share and to support whoever it is that the universe or fate or destiny or God put in front of me right now, and just continually serve them to the highest possible place that I can be, and trusting the rest will show up. So I appreciate you sharing, my love, because it's true. Get out of your head for all of us. It's life.
Yeah.
And this business is nothing more than a reflection of life. It's get out of your head. You know, we can have this same conversation about the gym. We can have about if I compare myself to somebody else at the gym. Listen, if I compare myself to my brother, I've got one of those annoying brothers who's 6 foot tall, olive skin, big white teeth, lots of muscles, completely shaved and waxed, looks amazing. If I compare myself to him, I'd feel bad about myself all the time. We can have this conversation about money. The minute you compare yourself to somebody else and their money or whatever, there's no winning. So yeah, get out of your head. So I appreciate the share, my love. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Shane, I think you had something you wanted to share that you'd learned this week or discovered this week.
Yeah, it was actually something that I discovered today. And that was about a week ago, I reached out to somebody and they came on as a customer. And so we're having a chat about what's been going on for them today. And I'd come across this person, I'd known this person for probably about 4 or 5 months, and she's like a really fit sort of woman. And so I had overlooked her. I overlooked her for the business. And I know in my head at that point in time, I almost like said to myself in a silent way, she won't be interested in this. And I prejudged her. And after speaking to her today, she was struggling for money. And so we just had a conversation around that. And what she told me was 2 weeks ago, she invested in a different MLM that was a water filter MLM, and she invested $10,000. And now she's trying to recoup that money. But she's finding it's difficult. But it was just like, wow, I didn't serve her in that moment 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, by prejudging her. And I just apologized to her. I said, look, I'm really sorry because I think I prejudged you earlier. We had a conversation around that because I didn't give her an opportunity to have a look at this. I overlooked her and thought, no, she won't be interested, just because I saw what she represents and made some assumptions there. Yeah. And so it was a really good sort of kind of slap in the face that here we are trying to serve people and trying to lift people up and give them an easier way to live their lives. And she connects with the product. Like I can hear it in her voice. She kind of wants to join the team. So she may eventually join the team anyway. But just now, because I prejudged her, I didn't get to her in time, and she was hungry for something. And so she grabbed it, whatever presented itself to her. And so it was just a really good sort of lesson today around, okay, you know what, this, I know this is a moral obligation for me to share both the business and the product with people. I've seen what the product does for me. I've seen what it does for hundreds of other people. And I know what this business can do for people's lifestyle and give them that freedom. And it's just a smart way to do business. It's a smart way to make extra income. And, the thing that really got in the way, it's kind of like, well, the product works, the system works. It's like, but I didn't work in that moment. In that moment, my mindset didn't work effectively for her, didn't serve her. And so, like I said, it was just a really good reminder to not prejudge people and just get out there and go, you know what, I need to give people an opportunity to at least say something, whether it be yes or no. I don't really mind or really care what their answer is. It's more about giving an opportunity. And so that was a realization for me today.
It's pretty cool. I love that happened for you, because that's how you learn lessons. And you used a great phrase, obviously, mate. You used that phrase that my friend Jay Abraham says. Some of you won't know Jay Abraham is, but he's one of the world's great teachers. And he talks about a philosophy that says, if you have a belief, a real heartfelt belief that your products and your services, which we have great products and a great business, are really, truly world class. If you've got that belief, then you really do have a moral obligation to share it with everybody. And to not do that, as Shane very honestly said then, because you think they're too short, too tall, too fat, too dumb, too whatever, is all just ego and judgment. And that's it's true for all of us. We all do it. We've all done it. And, what are the three things we're looking for, Shane? We're looking for, do they have a vision? Are they coachable?
Design, coachable.
And consistent.
And
that's it. If they've got a heart, they've got a pulse, that's a bonus. But there's not a biography to this business. There's not a biography. There's not a geography. We're in countries all around the world. I love the story of Amanda from Uganda. You've all heard that story. If you haven't, go Google it on the Team Spirit page. There's not a biography. There's old people. There's young people. There's single people. There's married people. There's husbands that do it without their wives. Wives that do it without their husbands. There's young people. There's single people. There's married people. There's not a geography. It doesn't matter where you're from. There's no binding definitive description of who can be successful in this business, except for they've got a desire, they can be coachable, and they can take consistent action. That's it. And anything else is just you and I making up stuff. So it's kind of cool. So with that, Kathy's just asked me a question and said, "Hey Scotty, I'm curious, how do you manage your disappointments when you don't see your results?" I don't have disappointments. And by that, I'm not being egotistical or arrogant. Disappointments, for me, and this is just my frame, would stem from having expectations about how things should be. And I don't have them. I can't control the universe. I've got 4 children. I can't control any of them. Certainly can't control my wife, and you'd all know that. Can't control the economy. Can't control the weather. I just was in Melbourne for 3 days. Fuck, that shit'll fuck up your mind, man. I have to wear. My kids were like, "Dad, you have to wear a t-shirt, a skivvy, and a jacket all on the same day." It was driving my kids nuts. They didn't understand. They were like, "No, you got to wear a skivvy, a t-shirt, a jacket, and a hat. Take it all, and your sunglasses, because you never know what's going to happen." So for me, when I think about disappointments, and this is my understanding of disappointments for me are when my expectations don't meet my reality. And whenever that happens, reality is reality. And so the expectations are things that I made up. And so I just want to be careful for myself about, am I measuring things that I'm in control of or things that I'd like to see happen? I have to trust in God. I have to trust in the bigger picture. I have to trust in the system. I have to trust in the team. I have to trust in the process. And as long as I'm doing the work, whether that's reach outs, 3-ways, connections, adding new friends, whatever it is, as long as I'm doing the work, then I want to be measuring those things, because those things are things that I can measure. Now, sometimes when you do a certain number of reach outs or a certain number of 3-ways or a certain number of adding new friends to your Facebook page, the numbers may not always balance out in the beginning the way you want them to balance out. And that can create sometimes some frustration. But that, for me, if I have frustration, Kath, that's a sign for me to either get some coaching or work on my technique or work on my language patterns or work on my strategy or work on my beliefs, because frustration is a way to challenge and question your beliefs. Certainly, I don't think I ever have disappointments except when I'm disappointed in myself. Now, I definitely have those. And disappointed in myself because I'm a human being and I don't always do what I say I'm going to do, and I don't always hold myself accountable to my word, and I don't always act in ways that I know that I'm capable of acting. And so that's when I have disappointments. That's the only time that I probably really allow myself to have a disappointment. And then obviously you want to use that as a way of moving forward, which doesn't always mean the same thing. Being disappointed in yourself may mean that maybe I overplanned, maybe I overcommitted, maybe I planned to do 25 3-ways in a day and I'm disappointed they didn't happen. Well, that was probably unrealistic to plan 25 3-ways in a day. But if I didn't do my 5 reach outs or didn't do my add to my Facebook group, or I didn't, whatever it happens to be, then that's when I want to be disappointed. So I only want to be disappointed in myself, not in results or in other people, because there are things I can't control. I don't know if that helps at all. So with that, Melanie's asked a question here. I'll just open it up for anybody to ask. And that is, Melanie says, I'd like to know if people are having success with direct links to people they've been chatting to, but might not really know. Mel, can you just jump on and maybe just frame what that means for you?
Yeah, I just feel like I have success with people that I know, but not like we make all these friends on Facebook, and I have got customers through that. But as far as teamies go, I don't feel like I've had much success there.
I think my experience here is that people have had that. Who here has signed somebody up as a teamie? I know Sally has, I'm sure. Who here is anybody here signed up team members from people that you met on Facebook?
Yeah. Hey.
Sal, can you talk to that?
Yeah. So Mel, I take like quite a long time to actually develop rapport with them, and I think a lot of them actually connect with perhaps like my daily messaging and my consistency on Facebook as well. So they get to feel, I guess, the depth of my realness and authenticity, and like I'm just a genuine person that really wants to help people, and I think that helps to connect with them at the deeper level. But the one that I've been using is the one that they spoke about it a little while ago on one of the team trainings, and it was just, it's not a direct, I can put it in the team chat or send it through, but I'm just trying to think of the one that it actually is. Do you want me to? I'll just dug out and I'll actually just read it. I'll find it. Because it's not direct, but it is direct, if that kind of makes sense. It's just like if somebody's looking for something, just let me find it and then I'll actually share it with you guys.
At what point of the conversation do you sort of steer it back to that?
Generally, like I'll raise, what do they do for work, and like, are they happy in that? So I ask like a lot of the master asker questions, and then if they happen to mention that they're a single parent, or that if they've got just like if the conversation I try and direct the conversation there, obviously, but otherwise, so
and do you let it like a rolling conversation, or do you let the conversation fade out and then go back to it?
So a little bit of both. Because I'm in contact with quite a few people each day, so sometimes I get a little bit slack and I don't get back to them for like 2 or 3 days or even a week. So sometimes it kind of rolls out. Like Nancy, one of my teamies, she was like a 6-month thing, so it wasn't like a fast thing. She looked at I sent her the link, she jumped on, she watched it. And then we had like a conversation, I checked in with her and she's like, no, not for me. And then, we ended up chatting like another month later, and she was still kind of having some challenges. And so then she had another look at the business then, and then she eventually came on board like another month after that. So some of them, like, it will be, in my experience, like a little bit longer to bring them on board. It's not as quick as obviously somebody that you know intimately. But I've found.
Can I just ask you, so when people say, oh no, it's not for me, how do you then keep in touch? Like, what would be your next message to them? Let's say.
So I would leave, like I'd say, oh yep, like that's completely cool, thanks for checking it out heaps, have a beautiful, like just touch base with them like a few weeks later, or maybe they might have liked a post, so then I'll be like, oh, thanks heaps for liking my post, and how's things going, how's things going with this or with that or whatever we've been talking about. So I'll just read out the message. So the direct message is, I was hoping you may be able to help me out. So normally, like, I fill it with, how are you? Hope you've been having a great week. Have you moved? How are things going? I was hoping you may be able to help me out. I'm looking for some very heart-centered women who love to make a difference and help others to connect with this year, that could be interested in earning an extra $500 to $1,000 per month around whatever they have happening in their lives at the moment. Obviously, my passion is for rural regional women and or single mums. Do you happen to know of anyone who may be interested? And then, and if they send back, and I've had a really good response with that sometimes, and I find my energy around it definitely impacts that. So if I'm in a really good place and feeling like, yep, I'm very hearted and my heart, or if I'm like, I just want to get these messages out, I get very different results. So I truly believe the energy and the intention that's sent with the message is very impactful.
If I could just add to that too, Sal, which is great, is just always remember too, Mel, that no doesn't mean no.
Yeah.
It just means no for right now. When everyone gives you a no, the obvious response is always, and Sally's taken a long time to learn this, she knows it now, she's always been too easily persuaded by somebody else's no. So if someone says no to Sally in the past, she said, oh, that's totally cool, babe. I get it. That's kind of that's the standard. That's a Sally Holden catchphrase. Oh, totally cool. I get it. And it's because you've got this story that says you want to be nice. Or you don't want to be pushy or some version of that. Where it is actually, it's not nice and it's selfish, because the real response is feel felt bound. So when you do the reaching.
I did that the other day, but I never heard back. And I just said, I felt the same, but this is what I found.
Yeah.
And I said, if ever you feel like you can fit it in, then my door's always open.
So my feel felt bound would probably look and sound like this, to say, you know what, totally get it, know how you feel. In the beginning, I felt the same, that it wasn't for me and it wasn't going to be a thing I wanted to do. And here's what I found. I wouldn't use the word but. I'd say, and here's what I found. What I found was, and then speak to the benefits, not the process. So speak to the, but what I found was, when I realized how much money I could make, or I realized how many people I could help, or when I realized how easy it was, or when I realized how simple it was, or when I realized how fun it was, it changed everything for me. And so rather than speak to, never solve their problem. Never solve their story about why they say they can't do it. So don't ever solve their problem. It says, if they say I can't do it because I'm too busy, or I can't do it because I don't want to be salesy, or I can't do it because whatever, don't speak to that problem. That's like starting a tennis match. It's like arguing with a 2-year-old. You should never argue with a 2-year-old, because if you're arguing with a 2-year-old, the 2-year-old's winning.
Right.
Does that make sense? It's like saying, so rather than, when someone says, oh, I can't do it because I'm too busy, just say, oh, no, you can. It only takes 4 hours a week. You're in an argument with them. Instead of saying, I know how you feel, I totally get it, me too. When I first started, I thought there was no way I was going to be able to do this. And you know what I found? What I found was I just loved making extra income, and I loved serving people. I just loved building part of a community. So I just fit it into my life. So if that's up for you, great, let me know. And just kind of leave it more open-ended, rather than don't try and answer the problem or rebut their excuse. If you rebut their excuse, we can never win that.
So is it a helpful exercise if I read my response and we can pick that?
Sure.
Or I don't know if that's helpful for anyone else. Sorry.
Go, what do you got?
Okay, I'll read the response. So I'll read what she said. Hi, Mel. I'm so sorry, as I have responded at least twice in my head and then kept. Anyway, it seems to be on my mind when I'm at my busiest. It is of interest and definitely feels like a great path, but I have just joined a gym and they seem to have me on a good schedule that will fill into my cracks in work and life schedule. I definitely can't fit anything else in at the moment. However, I do enjoy watching your journey. And I said, thank you, Ursula. I totally understand. Life is so busy. I did think the same and actually found that I can fit it in around all my usual commitments.
Oh, I just lost you, Mel. Did anyone else lose her, or is that just me? Damn. I lost you, hun. Anybody there?
Don't speak to their problem. So if they say they don't have enough time, don't speak to that problem of fitting it in. He talked about, we speak to other things, so that, I love the community, I love the growth, and, help, having people I can serve, and I just made that work. So possibly what he might say from what he said before was, don't speak to their problem. So don't kind of try and solve their problem. Don't try and convince them that their problem won't be a problem, but speak to the other things you love about it.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry, the internet's awesome. I apologise. Mel, I literally lost you as you said. I know how you feel. I found that I'm able to fit it in amongst all the other parts of my life. and all my other responsibilities. And I missed that last sentence. I don't know if David
And I
answered.
said, I really am doing it in stolen moments, so please don't feel like it is something you need to spend hours on every day.
Yeah.
Posting on social media, you already do so well, which was the biggest hurdle for me.
Yeah. So
So if
you can already stop. You can already stop. You can already stop.
So David just said, I think.
You answer. You're, and it's weird. It's like it seems weird to do. Don't answer their problems
That's what David just said.
because you feed into it. Does that make sense? Again, I liken it back to you don't argue with a 2-year-old and you don't argue with a drunk person. When a drunk person's got their keys in their hand, you don't try and rationalise why they can't drive home. You just say you're not driving home. You don't, when a 2-year-old, is throwing a tantrum and won't, put their shirt on, well, you make them put it on. And when someone says, I can't do it, I haven't got time, you just say, yeah, I know how you feel. I felt the same. You know what I found? And then you speak to either if you know what their pain is extra income, or their pain is they're trying to quit their job, or you know what their pleasure is, which is they want to build a community, or they want to be part of a gang, or they want to create freedom, or they want to do something cool. Speak to their pleasure. Speak to their pain. What did I just say?
You just froze.
You froze at the critical moment. At the critical moment, and then I would say, what I've found, freeze.
I love that. Well, you'll never know what it was now until you listen to the recording. Speak to their pain or speak to their pleasure, but don't speak to their head. Information never helped anybody make an emotional decision.
Right. So what then? So I leave all of that out, and instead I would say, this is what I love about it.
And here's what I found. Well, not what you love. No, what you think will speak to them. So you wouldn't say to me, Mel, I'm a 50-year-old white guy. You wouldn't say to me, oh, Scott, what I love about it is I love building a community and I love being part of the gang and it's all these beautiful women raising me up. You wouldn't say that. You'd say, gosh, what I love about it is building a residual income and planning for my retirement and creating some financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because I'm a 50-year-old white guy. You'd speak to whatever it is you already know about them that is either their pain or their pleasure. And if you don't know, you should know by then. And if you don't know, speak to both.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And it's funny. It's that. And here's the frame I'd put around it. And it's true for coaching. It's the same job. If you're here to serve people, and I really believe this business serves people, if you're here to help people get free emotionally and financially, and this business does both of those things, you have to get out of your patterns and out of your head of normal conversation and be making sure that you're having conscious conversation to help them move forward and not just be in the normal parameters or the normal banter of normal communication, which is your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Listen to the way Adam talks. Adam asks so many non sequitur questions but he does it so with such a blokey, friendly, casual style that he just keeps directing the conversation to where he wants it to go to, but in his blokey, casual, friendly style. So you've got to find a way to continually be moving the conversation to where you want it to go to in a style that sits well with you, as opposed to what most people do. And again, I'll use Sally as an example because she's so good at this. Sally's model is, I'm such a sweet, beautiful, loving human being, is that she just lets the conversation flow wherever it wants to. And the challenge with that is that if the other person's got more energy in terms of negativeness or uncertainty or not ready or frustration or doubt, then their flow will win. Instead of saying, no, I know where I want the person to go. Where I want them to go is the land of freedom and promise and excitement and health and security. I have to keep directing them that way.
Yeah, I think I struggle with that too.
Yes, you do. And I guess, and Adam would probably just link that to, and I think Kathy will jump in here, I'm sure, is belief. The minute you have total belief. I, at 50, don't know a better business model for most Australians than building this type of distributorship. And when you've got that belief, then it just makes sense. I mean, as Adam would always say, if not this, what? If not this.
I'm just trying to believe. Maybe I just can't put that across. I don't know.
Do you have that? Do you have that belief, Mel, that this is the path for freedom? Then the only thing that I do then, which is great, is really just to challenge your patterns to be continually reminding yourself every time you're about to speak to someone or text someone or message someone that my way to serve this person is to move them forward. That's how I serve them. And that kindness or appropriateness or politeness doesn't serve them.
And I think that's the exact thing I'm struggling with.
If I had a booger in my nose, everybody please, on camera right now, if you had a booger in your nose, put your hands up if you'd rather someone tell you than not tell you. Who'd rather know?
But I don't want to tell someone.
Yes, and that's the problem right there. So every single person just put their hand up and said, yes, I would rather know, but nobody wants to tell them. And so that's the exact example right there. It's about saying, you know what, yes, that's what it is right there. So it's about saying, you know what, I get it. I know you feel. I felt the same. Here's what I found. And be okay with, you know, I call it scabbing them up a little bit, but be okay with, you know, leaving a bit of an open loop or an open wound that says, you know what, here's what I found. What I found is I love making an extra couple of grand a month. What I found is I love being part of a cool community. What I found is I love creating my financial freedom. Let me know when you're ready to chat. And leave it as an open loop. Whereas what you're doing is tucking it all in and putting it to bed, and you're agreeing and aligning. You're agreeing and aligning with their reason why they can't do it now.
That's so good.
So knowing that no doesn't mean no. It might take 7 no's. I'm not kidding. True story. You can't make this up, boys and girls. On Saturday, so I've told you guys the story where I went to the first Juice Plus presentation in Australia in May of 1998. My mum got involved in the program. I didn't think it would work. And my mum got in because my mum gets into everything. And she got in quickly and promptly. On the weekend, I was at my nana's 99th birthday, and old people don't change shit. And on the kitchen fridge of my nana's house, this is the fridge of my nana's house. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can anybody see that?
That's my little daughter.
That's your daughter, who's now 15 or 16 or something, by the way. And on the fridge is a little magnet that says, have you taken your Juice Plus today? That magnet has been on my nana's fridge since 1999. Because my mum put it there 20 years ago and it's still there. So anyway, it's kind of a crazy world. Hey, here's Ivano who asked me a question. He's saying, if during a call with a customer he tells you, I think the program, the products, I like the program and the products, but I want to think about it. How do you deal with that? I'd always say, great, can I ask a question? What is it you need to think about? And they'll usually they'll lie to you. Let's be clear. People lie. The way that people hide their uncertainty is they lie. Now, they don't call it lying. They call it being polite. And so they say things like, oh, I just need to think about it, or I just need to sit on it for a couple of days, or just need to ask my dog or my wife or my goldfish if I'm able to do it or whatever. And so they lie. And what they're doing is all human beings are afraid of making decisions and committing. They just are. That's the nature of human beings. And so you want to be able to be comfortable enough to push them and go, you know what, I hear what you're saying. I know how you feel. I originally felt the same too and felt like I wanted to sit and think about it. But here's what I'm going to have to tell you. Eventually, you're going to have to decide if the products and the programs are for you. And there's only 2 ways to do that. You can either read all the information, and someone needs to unmute themselves. You can either read all the information, and I can send it to you so you get convinced, or you can order the product for yourself and convince yourself. I mean, that's it. That's all you can do. All you can do is say to people, you know what, I totally understand that, I get it, but eventually you're going to have to decide. And so the single best way to make a decision if the product's and the program for you is just to order it. And if it's not for you, you'll know in the first week or 2 and cancel your order, and that'll be it. But certainly delaying your decisions is not a way to be helping you move forward. I would just play with that. And I mean, that's all you can really do, Amano. I don't know if Ivana is still there on sound or not.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But again, I would say this, and you would guys would know this from coaching. For all of us, you want to be that person. Most people just want to be led. And most people, without saying, I'm not telling you all to go and be pushy, but certainly be okay with driving the conversation where you want it to go. Be okay with driving the conversation forward. Say, look, I get it. I know how you feel. When someone first showed this to me, I wanted to think about it. And I thought about it for 18 years. True story. So I don't want you to think about it for 18 years. So I get you want to think about it, I really do. But there's only two ways to convince yourself. Number one, read all the information and get convinced by somebody else. You don't seem to me to be the type of person that's going to be convinced by somebody else. Or just order it. You can have the product at your house in less than 2 days and try it for yourself. And that'll be the best way to convince yourself. Now, if they still say, no, I want to think about it, say, great, well, listen, let's do this. Let me send you something to watch so you can send them something. And let's connect tomorrow at 4 p.m. and we'll have a chat about the video. Does that work for you? Great. I'll chat to you at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And I wouldn't leave the meeting without having the follow-up appointment. Don't leave people hanging in the air. And then the third thing I would say is if you've got 15 other people to go and follow up with, it won't bother you that they're not ready to commit today. If they're the only person you've got on the go right now, it will bother you that they're not committing right now. But if you got 15 others, it won't. So numbers is always part of the game as well. Certainly when Adam is missing a call or someone doesn't turn up, he's like, I don't care. It'll be the next person because he's doing 15 3-ways in a day. So it's kind of it. Now I'm going to put somebody on the hot seat tonight because did I hear the voice of David Misio on this call before?
No.
I've got to find out, Dave Misio, what are you doing on this call? What's going on? Tell me, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Have you been reborn or are you reawakened? And if so, how come? And if so, why? And if so, what's next? Because I haven't seen you on one of these calls for a long, long time. What are you lost? Did you turn on Netflix and landed here instead? What are you doing here?
Yeah, wasn't this Netflix? Is this not Netflix?
It's not CSI. It's not CSI Narang.
I thought all the multiple screens is one of those funky TV shows where they show different scenes at the same time. What am I doing? Look, I kind of, I have been lost. I have been in the hinterland for a while. So, I'm back. I am just looking to get traction again.
Got it. Awesome. Well, certainly you're not the first person to get lost. All of us have done. Certainly I've done that before. So certainly I know that we're excited to have you on board, and you're in a great team. So welcome back, buddy. And I know you're going to Perth for conference, which is kind of exciting. So that's kind of cool. So welcome. I'll just share one thing if I can, unless anyone's got any other questions, and that is this. Obviously, I was just away for 2 weeks. We were on. No, this is not Netflix. I was just away for 2 weeks on family holiday, which was awesome and beautiful and amazing. And we love having family holidays. But I got to tell you this, my wife and I actually missed this. We were both on planes the 2 times that call was on. We went to 3 different places over the last 14 days. We went to Melbourne and Phuket and Singapore. And we really missed it. I was excited to do the call tonight. I was on the final plane home yesterday from Melbourne to the Gold Coast, and I was on my iPad for an hour and a half doing planning and scheduling. As you guys know, I like to plan and schedule. And I was actually rubbing my hands together with glee, looking at what was coming up in the week. And I was actually doing this, and I was sort of cheering and getting myself up. And Grace, who's 8, was sitting next to me saying, Dad, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? She goes, what are you doing? You look like you're cheering yourself on. And I said, actually, I am. I was super excited about what was going on because the longer I get involved in this and the deeper I go in this is that I'm more and more convinced this is the way forward for mums and dads, and this is the way forward for young people. And it's the way forward for old people like myself to create financial freedom. So it's kind of a cool thing. So with that, someone just asked, when is conference? It's right there. You mentioned there was something exciting you wanted. What was it? You missed? Yes, Jess. Jess said you mentioned there was something exciting you wanted to announce. Yes, it was that I missed you. I missed the team. I missed the culture. I missed the community. I missed talking to regular people about the possibility of taking control of their own lives. You know, I'm a little bit blessed in that I get to travel the world and do some pretty cool things. And I get to meet lots of people who are very conscious, like most of you here. But having spent the last 2 weeks just mixing with regular folks, I certainly met a lot of regular folks. You know, I was at Nana's 99th birthday on the weekend, and, you know, there was not a university educated person in the room. Nobody in the room at my Nana's party was wearing a shirt and tie to go to work. Every single person in the room, all 60, 70 people, work with their hands. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's a very unique and particular group of people that I don't get a lot of exposure to. And it was just exciting. It was exciting to speak to regular folks and share with them the possibility that they could take control of their own life by taking a product they love, being part of a program that's world class, and sharing it with friends and family and new people they meet to create some financial freedom and some financial choices, because it's kind of a cool thing. So with that, there's lots of things to do. It's only 9 o'clock. I know I've got a call left with Yvonne at 9:30. Certainly, I always think Tuesday nights is a great night to do shout-outs and reach-outs, because it allows you to have 3 or 4 days left before the weekend happens to go do some tying down and chasing in and locking up and all sorts of cool stuff. So unless anyone's got any burning shares, thank you. Welcome back to Dave Musio. Steve Whitmore, if we can help you do whatever you need to do, you know where to find us and get things going. Other than that, boys and girls, let's leave it at that. Everybody have a great week. Good night. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Night, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.